And now the moment has come tonight. And I want to tell you a story before I introduce this man, my mentor, my upline. All right? For all of us, he is 001, the ultimate upline. I remember at VCon, when we used to have an exhibition booth outside, we would do activities at the exhibition booth. And I remember a bunch of leaders who were there, or networkers who came, and they came and they spoke to me about many things. And I said, why did you choose to come to VCon? And their answer, I remember today sitting outside talking to the rest, they said they came to see if Dato Sri Vijay was real. All right? Like Dato Sri Vijay is this legend that you hear about and everyone talks about, but you never get to see him unless you come to VCon. So there were people who came to VCon just to see if Dato Sri Vijay is real. So let me tell you, as somebody who has hugged this man, all right, got blessings from him, traveled the world with him, our upline, Dato Sri Vijay, is real. Now, many people have defined this man in many ways. And many of you may not know, Dato Sri Vijay is not only our upline. He's an author. He has written many best-selling books in like 14 languages. He has been invited to speak on governmental platforms like the ASEAN Summit, like the European Union. He is a member of the World Economic Forum, one of the most prestigious platforms for business owners, for prime ministers and ministers. And Dato Sri Vijay is part of that platform called the World Economic Forum. He is, with his wife, Datin Sri Umayal, the patrons who have changed so many lives through the Rhythm Foundation, globally, things that you don't even hear of. But today, for me to invite him here for the next 3 days, I need you to understand my respect for him, my adoration for him, my loyalty for him, the same as Japa or the V partners. Now, like you, 24 years ago, we were just like you. I was a participant. I heard Japa speak for the first time and Dato Sri speak for the first time on a platform at an event in Malaysia. We were nobodies. But Dato Sri Vijay himself saw something in us, whether it's Sati, Arun, Adli, myself. And he never gave up. Whether our checks were high, our checks dropped, he never gave up. He is, my opinion, the true definition of an upline. When we say the upline is a lifeline, Dato Sri Vijay is our lifeline. He has never given up on anyone. I've never seen him giving up on anyone or anything. You know, my mother always taught me, God bless her soul, that some people's stories will end with them. And some people's stories will last for generations to come. And I can tell you clearly today, the story of Vijay Ishwaran, the story of our upline, will last for generations to come as the man who took impossible and made it I am possible. A man who stood for the truth at any price and was willing to pay it. A man who fought battles not for his own gain, but to protect his downlines, the dreams of many, as Dato Sri Vijay would say. A man who you cannot find a better friend, a better brother, who would be there for you, not only in your brightest day, but your darkest hour. And I have seen this with my own 2 eyes. And yes, he's going to come up. There's going to be a lot of fanfare because of who he is. But please, whoever you are, brand new sign up, 10-year veteran whose cup is full sometimes, whoever you are, listen to every word. Because there's something powerful, there's something magical in the tone of his voice that it reaches you. It makes you believe again. Dato Sri Vijay made me a dreamer when I'd forgotten my dreams. He made me believe again when I stopped believing in anything. That we, as an organization, lasted for 24 years, became one of the greatest network marketing organizations in the world. Many reasons why. But I know the real reason. And the real reason is this man, Dato Sri Vijay Ishwaran. So to all of you around the world, please rise. Rise. Stand up. Climb on your chair. And for those of you who are going to be seeing this man for the first time, let me tell you, he is real. He is the upline of the uplines. He is the benchmark in the industry of network marketing. He's a man who only knows to work from his heart. A man who doesn't know any other word besides loyalty. A true warrior who fights for the truth at any cost. So VCon 2022 around the world, please rise and help me welcome on our VCC 2022, our upline, our visionary, the one and only Dato Sri Vijay Ishwaran. VCC 2022, help me welcome the one and only Dato Sri Vijay Ishwaran. Ane, Om Namah Shivaya, Ane, welcome home. I love the shirt.
It's a year of the tiger.
I love it, Ane. Ane, we have 500,000 over people around the world. They just heard from Japa, and now your downlines, your children are waiting to hear from you. We love you so much. Thank you for being who you are. And this VCon is dedicated to you, Ane. So to everyone around the world, one more time, help me welcome Dato Sri Vijay Ishwaran.
Welcome home. To VCC, welcome home. Côte d'Ivoire, San Pedro, welcome home. Dubai, UAE, welcome home. Nigeria, welcome home. Morocco, welcome home. Nepal, welcome home. Sri Lanka, welcome home. Burundi, welcome home. India, welcome home. Bangalore, welcome home. Ahmedabad, Agra, welcome home. Chennai, welcome home. Coimbatore, welcome home. Cochin, welcome home. Chandigarh, welcome home. Kolkata, welcome home. Ghana, Accra, welcome home. Kuwait, welcome home. Indonesia, welcome home. Burkina Faso, welcome home. And to all of you out there, welcome home. Khartoum, Sudan, welcome home. Welcome back. Welcome to VCon. Today begins the journey of the rest of your lives. Today, you should mark down on your calendars as day 1. This is the day that you begin the real journey, the one that you were born for. It's amazing to see all of you all across the world like this. VCon has always been a place for change. It is a place where change is born. It is a place where change begins. VCon is where we all began our journey at one point or another. And over the next 3 days, we will try our very best to talk to each other. It's not the words that we use that's going to be very important, because the communication is going to be from heart to heart. From all the speakers out here who come out, it is what they leave you behind in your minds and hearts that's going to make the difference. From my heart to yours, I say, welcome home. Why? Because home is truly where everything begins. Home is where we live. And home is where change actually begins. The only thing I can tell you is that there is nothing magical about VCon until you learn to believe in yourselves. For the magic is in you. So, don't look upon the fact that you are sitting here looking at a screen, and you have been looking at screens for the last couple of years. There's a word that I heard from Patman recently. A chief was saying something about online lethargy. You know, and the first time I heard it from him, and I want to say this to you. You see, online lethargy is not something new. It's not something that just began in the last 2 years. Before that, you guys had basically lifeline lethargy. And it took VCon to wake you up. So online lethargy, life lethargy, all of this lethargy happens when the brain basically starts to say you are in your comfort zone. Comfort zone is where lethargy begins. And VCon is where we shake you out of it. We wake you up. So we are going to say to you this time around, be the change. Because the change that needs to happen right now, it's a tagline. Right behind me, you can see it. Be the change. But that's how all change begins, as a tagline. All change begins by somebody somewhere inferring it, suggesting it. All change begins by nudging slowly, little by little, little by little. There is going to be no dramatic change, but if there is even a slight change as you walk out of these halls that you are in, then your life will take on a new meaning. Because from that slight change, an avalanche will form. A landslide will form. And that's what VCon is all about. I welcome you all back. We have been on this journey for 24 years. But the next 24 years, that is in your hands. I'm talking today to the people who will carry this flag, who will carry this message, who will be the agents of change across the world. And I'm excited to see all of you everywhere. The technology today is amazing. The fact is, I'm sitting here in KL and I'm talking to thousands, no, hundreds of thousands of you across the world. And the fact that we can do this is something that we would have never dreamt about at the beginning of our own journey. And we are standing here today at the beginning of your journey. It's not the last 24 years that's important. It's the next 24 years. It's your life. This is what we are going to be discussing. This is what we are going to be talking about. This is what I hope will begin in the hearts and minds of all of you. Life is not meant to be lived in the fashion that we are choosing to live it. We are now sitting back here, basically being observers, onlookers onto our own lives. You need to change it. Again, to paraphrase Helen Keller, who Chief likes to talk about all the time, life is a daring adventure. Or what, Chief? Life is You're muted, Batman.
Life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all, Ane.
Life is either a daring adventure
or nothing at all.
Exactly. I have always found that to be striking words. And I will be coming on for the next few days, and we will be talking, we will be hopefully receiving some questions from all of you across the world and answering some of them as well. Will that be done, Padman?
Yes, Ane. We have questions for tomorrow and the last day.
All right, excellent. And we have Mr. Bismarck here. Now, normally we have a song for Mr. Bismarck, but there's too many of you. Otherwise, we can, activate the song. Japa Haribol. You're muted, Japa.
Guys, you got to help unmute Japa. Unmute Japa, please.
Haribol, Japs.
Haribol, Vijay. Sorry, I could not unmute myself.
Oh, that's all right. You got 500,000 people to sing the, Japa, Japa, Japa song.
Oh, no. Dato.
I like the Japa, 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 Japa. Haribol, Japs, it's been a couple of years since I've seen you and hugged you.
Yeah, I know.
All of this has kept us apart. So what's the mystery with your hand, Japadas? Are you going to share it?
Oh, I just had a surgery on my wrist, left wrist.
Really?
The other day.
Are you good now?
Yeah, nothing serious. But I cannot move my wrist. So they had to put it on a cast for a week until it heals. Yeah.
See, that's a true networker, Paben.
Yes, Ane. Nothing can stop Japa.
Exactly.
But
now,
it's a nice
did you do the ground rules with them, Padman?
Oh, Mane?
Did you do some ground rules with them, like the way we are going to basically do the silent clap?
Not yet, Ane. Not with your crowd. I haven't seen your crowd, Ane. I'm seeing your crowd for the first time.
Okay. So you'll be introducing part of all of this tonight.
Yes, Ane. So to all
Excellent.
the cities watching Dato Sri Vijay, when you react to Dato Sri Vijay, remember the silent clap. You put both your hands up and you do this. Do you remember this? Do you remember this? Delhi, do you remember this? Kolkata? They are delayed by they're delayed about 10 seconds.
Right. So this is what we're going to be doing, the silent clap. Can I see it on the screen? Come on, let's try this. Bangalore, Coimbatore, Burkina Faso, Khartoum, Tirunelveli, Chennai, Cote d'Ivoire, Delhi. Can you hear me, Delhi? 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 Can you hear me Excellent. Morocco, Nepal, Dubai. Excellent. So, this I can see instantly and right away. The sound will follow, but this I can see. So, whenever we need to basically send this message from my heart to your heart, it goes like this. Okay, and this is the power of the silent clap. Many years ago, we had a contingent who came to us, and it was amazing because I didn't recognize this till I saw them do this. It's only after the fact that I became aware that they were especially gifted, because they were basically without the sense of hearing and speech. Hence, despite that, they were so energetic, so formidable, so amazing. Guys, do you think you came here to sit down for 3 days? No. You have been sitting down your whole lives. You spent your entire journey in life mainly sitting down. So you're going to spend the next 3 days as much as possible standing. Are you with me? Are you with me? Burkina Faso, are you with me? Awesome. Excellent. So, we'll get through all of this, despite the challenges that are being occasionally coming up in between you and me. Eventually, our hearts will prevail. Are you with me? All right. That's good to see. So, Chief.
Anna, there's one question everyone asks me. Why did you choose the theme of Be the Change for this week on?
See, let's discuss this for a few minutes because it's so important that we keep this in mind for the next 3 days. When we began this journey 24 years ago, we had a discussion as to which individual, which icon, which great personality in history that we could choose to be our icon, our corporate icon. Someone whose life made a difference to all of us. Someone whose life continues to make a difference. And someone whose life represents our own journey. Whose concepts, whose philosophy represents our own journey. And that was none other than Mahatma Gandhi. One of his most famous sayings, which I often repeat, I never get tired of repeating throughout the world, wherever I am, is simply, be the change that you want to see. Be the change that you want to see in the world. It's a very powerful phrase. And from there comes an entire philosophy. It espouses the fact. It says you cannot change anyone else. The only way you're going to change the world is by changing yourself. That true change only begins from within you, nowhere else. So, be the change you want to see. The first part of which you see behind me. Be the change. You be the change. Not expecting to look anywhere else, not expecting it from everyone else, not expecting it from the world, but you be the change and the world will automatically change as you do. So be the change is about you. And this is the discussion. We're not here to talk about QI or QNet or the V or any of the companies. We are here to talk about you. Entirely, we are here to talk about you. The change begins in you. And change is a journey. It's not a destination. It's a journey. Are you with me? Are you with me? Excellent. So here's the point. Be the change is going to be your message. It's going to be your song. Be the change is a powerful song and a powerful motto. And throughout these next 3 days, you're going to hear it over and over again. So when I come back later on, we will kickstart with the song sung by an amazing lady. An amazing lady that I would have never expected the kind of energy that she brought to the screen. If she can sing it, so should you. That is going to be your theme song as you go back. That is going to be a theme song in your heart. Are you with me? Are you with me? Kolkata, are you with me? Bangalore, Jaipur, Burkina Faso, Coimbatore, are you with me? Agra, are you with me? The message will eventually reach all of you. This is the promise that we make today. This message will become your message. And from you, it will go out to the world. Be the change. Yes, Chief. Shall we go on?
Yes, Anna. There's one more question which came to me from a person who is not in QNet. Very interesting question. As you know, Anna, most founders like you and Japa, at this point of your journey, have an island called VJ, like Vijay and Japa, and you all are sitting and drinking mango juice every day, counting the millions. But after 24 years, without fail, this is our 34th VCon number 34. After 24 years, you and Japa are still here. I mean, like here, really here with us as our uplines, as our mentors. But why, Anna? Why?
Well, I mean, this is something I believe Japa and I will probably be very much on one mind. So, Haribol Japadas. So, our journey, Japadas, can Japa speak?
Yes, unmute Japa.
Haribol, Japa.
Sorry, my speech is controlled by water.
It's controlled by somebody, Japa.
It's actually always controlled, Japadas. We just don't notice it all the time.
Yes,
so
that is true.
there is somebody's hand who's above us all.
That is true.
So anyway, Haribol Japa, so the question is, why are we doing what we are doing still? After all this time, 24 years we're doing this. So I'm sure you have your reasons.
Well, Vijay, I just remember I think you told me this story a long time ago of the boy and the horse. And the boy could not see where he's going. So he was having difficulty because it was, I think, very dark. So he asked the horse, what should I do? I cannot move anymore. I could not see where I'm going. So the horse told him, but do you see your next step? Do you see your next step? So he said, yes. So just take that step, he said. Then the next step would be shown to you. So kind of like I remember, Vijay, that when we began, I was trying to picture where we're going to be, but it was impossible. I would not even thought we would get this far. So pretty much really I just focus on that first step, that next step. Then, oh my God, we got here. We got here somehow. So I think what's important, what has been important for me, and I think I would share this with the rest, is that don't worry about tomorrow, what's going to happen. It's just take that step today, make that change today, and all of this would be accounted for, as you go along. The steps would be shown as much as you grow, right? You would see much further in the journey. But so I never, Vijay, I wasn't. I think if I would tell you that I saw this happening, it would be a lie. I never saw. Remember, I just wanted to put food on the table, Vijay. I just wanted to.
Well, Japadas, I totally agree with you. I'm sure anyone had asked us this question 24 years ago, whether we would keep on doing this for as long as we have done, I think we would have both told them that they are mad. Insofar as I'm concerned, I'm sure, Japadas, we never planned to do this for 24 years. But I think, Patman, the point that Japa and I are both making is that for us now, the destination, so to speak, which was so important when we started, because at that point, Japa and I had certain destinations, we wanted to reach certain things, do certain things, achieve certain things. These were destinations. But today, the journey itself has become a destination. And the journey has taken on a new light, as it were. Because as long as we can keep on seeing this crowd, and making a difference somehow in the lives of the people we're talking to, it makes a difference to us. As Japa just said just now, if you heard him, he says, I still learn from what I am saying. And that's a very powerful thing. You see, and I am really impressed. Japa has the humility to say that. I say it too from time to time, but it's so nice to be able to hear this and remind myself also one more time. It is a fact. We need to keep saying the things that we say. That's where change begins. Today in a conversation that Japa and I were a part of, I said, we start with a tagline and that becomes our main line, And it is so true. It is so true. Even, repeating it constantly, be the change, be the change, be the change, makes that into something, a powerful motivation for us. And for you, those who are listening. So, even the fact that we are standing here in front of you, sharing with you our life journey, our experiences, our expectations, our disappointments and challenges. And that's really what you get to hear between, two of us, how we began, how we stood by each other and carried each other through many, many times. And it's powerful, And Japa also said something very, very, I think, impactful just now. For those of you who were listening, he said, you are not alone. He said, you are not alone. That we are together with you in this journey. And that is powerful. And as he recounted, the world is at war. It is an amazing situation where we are again at the brink of war. A war that has, basically all the potential to pull the whole world into it. But having said that, it is, insofar as a networker is concerned, in every crisis, there is opportunity. It is out of World War II that some of the greatest and most significant developments of the century began. Technology before World War II and after World War II was tremendously different. It's amazing how World War I and World War II transformed the planet. It is just exactly like nature itself. When a volcano erupts, it destroys. It devastates, and Japa comes from a country that is now having a volcano erupt again after a long time. And, the eruptions are devastating and they take a heavy toll on lives. But it is because of the volcanoes in the islands, the Philippine Islands, that the soil is so incredibly rich that, you could literally grow anything. And Japa knows this. Japa, if Japa was left alone, I imagine very much he would be a farmer. If we allowed him to retreat back into the farm, I think he would enjoy it. I can picture him down there in the dirt. But this is a fact of life. So there is eruptions going on across the world, both of the natural kind and also those that were created by man. And this will continue to be there. But our lives must continue also. We need to essentially complete our life's journey. All of us, all of you listening, have responsibilities. Dapa began this journey, I can tell you, mainly because of his responsibilities. He just recognized the fact that he could not go on the way he was, and me too. We both were pretty honest to each other at that point, Japa.
Yes.
If you remember, we were both basically starting out, from rock bottom, which is a good place to start. And we were willing to do just about anything to be successful. To pull ourselves out of the rut, so to speak. And the many conversations we had, Japadas, just about this.
The long walks, VJ.
Japa?
The long walks.
The long walks, Dato Sri refused to follow you, Japa.
He told me he was interested in exercising.
But look at him now, Japa. Look at Dato Sri now. He is the benchmark of exercise and fitness.
True.
That's so true, Ane. And Japa and Ane, a very interesting question asked to me by a competitor. I won't mention the company, the name of the company the person was from, but it starts with A and ends with Y. And they said something very interesting. Japa and Dato Sri, I don't know whether you both know, but your organization have become a study case for the industry of network marketing.
Oh, wow.
Because me and JR, we meet a lot of people from the industry, and they are studying how did you survive for 24 years and become the fastest growing network marketing company originating from Asia of all places. And one very interesting point, and you mentioned it earlier, is the person asked me, every network marketing company talks about feeding the ego, Japa. Correct? It's all about feeding the ego of your leaders to get them to do more and edify them more and make them feel like kings and queens. But from the first day I signed up with both of you, you spoke the total opposite. Why is that? You went against the grain completely of traditional network marketing when it comes to leadership management. Humility. Look at the concept of in-service, Japa and Ane. You founded the concept of in-service. Doesn't exist anywhere in the industry, I can tell you. Why that approach?
I just remember, if I may, Vijay, I just remember you were teaching me in the early days how the enemy in the network place is the sidelines. They
Yes.
don't work together. They kill each other. You're not allowed. Like, I remember, Vijay, I was going to attend another seminar. I thought it was the company seminar. They didn't let me in. I was so disillusioned. Why would they not let me in? They were asking, oh, you're not a part of our organization. I could not understand why that was. And
Crossline.
yeah, at that time I didn't know. So, and there was this, and Vijay Patman at that time told us when we were training that time to open all our sessions to everyone who wants to attend. And it was totally the opposite of the principle. I mean, it's pretty much opposite of what's going on in the other network marketing companies. They're just so secular in their meetings and stuff like that. But and that to explain, the V concept was totally different. That we were not building a pyramid. We're actually building, a pyramid, but it's upside down. It wasn't a pyramid like this. And so if you're building this way, the V shape, VJ, how could there be pride and ego on your part? You're at the bottom serving everyone. Whereas if you're, the traditional network is like this, they think the network is like this. They're on top and they always try to, be the biggest, dog in their thing. They have to be always speaking. And Vijay, I remember you told me, Japa, that's a very tiring route to always try to keep up, to be the best speaker and all of these things. But whereas at the bottom, Vijay, you push your people up and we got to relax much earlier than the rest of the... You remember our old uplines in another network marketing. They try to control the network. They're on top. The edification is just crazy. So I learned that from the beginning, Batman, that really building is about serving people. And to be able to serve takes a lot of humility. You cannot serve when you're arrogant.
Well, that's a key word right there, Patman, service. You see, the one thing that Patman needs to know, I think you already know this, Patman, but people out there need to know that both of us come from a tradition of service.
Yes.
It's Asian. It comes from our roots, actually. Both of us come from homes whereby it is natural for us to see any guest. Literally, the term is guest is God. So any guest that turns up in the house is seen as, coming from the divine power himself. So anyone being there has to be given the best. So we end up, sleeping on the floor whenever it's necessary, but always serving those that I need, serving those who stand in front of us. Hence, the ego is something that we have to combat our whole lives, So it was natural for us, So if someone comes up to Japa and say, you are the greatest, he'll be embarrassed. Japa will turn around and say, no, not me, and point to somewhere else, because this is how we deflect. And it's so critical to us that we do that, because we need to keep our feet on the ground. So if you're asking about the ego, feeding the ego is the fastest way. It's like feeding the dragon, It never ends.
Yes, Ane.
So that's an answer, Padman. We both, at many levels, Japa and I agree with each other, and that goes a long way.
And Ane, you and Japa today at this VCon, we have so many people in the first 6 months of their journey. And like me, like many others who started with you 24 years ago, our initial goal was financial. And I remember, Ane, coming to you and we had so many discussions where you made a profound statement to me and saying, sort out your selfishness before you talk about selflessness. Sort out your needs. You basically never deflected me away from my goals. My car, you fueled my dream so much in the early days. What I wanted to do for Amma and financial things. So you have so many people today at this VCon who are driven by their dreams, and many of their dreams are materialistic. And I think today people are making materialism look bad. I don't think it's bad, Japa. I think it has to be balance. I don't know if that's the right word.
You cannot give what you don't have, right?
Omane.
So if you are in a position to want to give and you feel that you want to do more, hence the concept of rhythm, raise yourself first. If you want to help anyone, leave alone mankind, the concept itself requires you to have something to give. Are you with me?
Yes, Ane.
And it's not about going after the material goals by itself. It's about the fact that it takes dedication, determination, daring, all right, to be able to go out there, hard work in order to be able to achieve something. That is your true wealth. You know, that is your true wealth. Now, in that process, there's a benchmark, and the benchmark is wealth. So, if you want to be able to achieve that, in order to be able to give it, you have to begin, with hard work, with determination. And it's the fact that you are looking for something beyond. If the wealth becomes the be all and end all, that's a problem. But if you see beyond it to recognize that ultimately it is you who is getting perfected, that you are becoming an entrepreneur, you're standing on your feet, you're able to take control of your lives, you are able to help and support all those around you, that is critical. Japa may have some thoughts on this also.
I just remember that I had to go through a paradigm shift in the early days because I grew up in a culture and, of course, the practice. I was in a monastery. Kind of like the concept was money is the root of all evil. That's kind of like what I've been, you know what I mean? That's what I sort of like understood. So here, when you were talking to me about becoming successful, becoming wealthy, it was going in the grains because like, why should I have money? Why should I be successful? And at the same time is the root of all evil. So it's kind of like, it goes in the grain of my paradigm shift. I had to, my mindset, So I had to change some paradigm shift to understanding, hey, money is not the root of all evil. Because money is an instrument, just like you say, like a knife. I could use it for, cutting vegetables, and I could also use it for killing, So it's pretty neutral, a success. So when I understood that money is really neutral and that I'm just a caretaker, because like we learned that I came in naked, I'm going to leave naked. So what exactly do I own? But if I could be a good caretaker, a good custodian, and that's basically what we all are, what we should be, a good custodians wherein we could, benefit the planet, benefit the people around us, then we have all the right, BJ, to be wealthy in that regards.
In fact, the greatest message that I'd like to send out to everyone out there, if there's one thing that you have to be focused on, it's not about being incredibly wealthy, but being incredibly successful. There's two different things. You chase success and wealth will chase you. You chase wealth and despair chases you. So chase success. Chase incredible success. Chase incredible success to the point that everyone around you is astounded. Be as incredibly successful as you can be. Reach the highest potential for which you were born to be. Does that make sense, Padman?
Very much, Ane, very much. And my next question before we bring in your warriors, Ane, is this word, because I wanted to use this topic to introduce the other V partners, is this word loyalty. I think today the word loyalty is so diminished or diluted in the new generation of people. And one thing I have always been in awe of your relationship with Japa is the loyalty to each other. You never see this in the world of business. You don't even see this in the world of networking. All right? It always happens, issues and all of that. But I am in so much awe of the loyalty between both of you, and you taught me, both of you taught me by your actions, that the fundamental pillar in network marketing is loyalty. But how would you communicate loyalty? Ane? I think it's the hardest module to ever do, in my opinion.
Well, Japa, you want to start perhaps?
Well, BJ, I was asked this many, many years ago, BJ, if I was loyal to you. And my answer was no. And it shocked the person asking. He said, "What? I mean, I was told by many you're very loyal to BJ." I said, "No, I'm loyal to the truth." And because BJ is a follower of this truth, and he's always, very disciplined, and he always searches for, the best for everyone and not just for himself. And so my loyalty lies in that. But the day VJ does not follow the truth, my loyalty ends. So I think loyalty, as far as I'm concerned, should not just be blind, being a blind follower. We all hear this. Why follow someone who would lead you to, and just like today, there's many dictators. Remember, VJ? Today there are many dictators you tell me about, and people are following them. Why? Because they're such and such, but they've actually already given up the truth. They're just for self, aggrandizement of all these things. So then it leads to totally a disaster, Vijay, I believe. So I think we should not be loyal to a particular person, but I think our loyalty must always be with the truth, with humanity, with service, all of these things.
I think the if I could add to that, Japadas, basically, the fact is we are both always here balancing each other, and that's our strength. We are always balancing each other. So, the thing is, whether you present the truth to me or I present the truth to you, that is our strength. We are always there to present the truth to each other, and that's a very powerful balance indeed. That's the best relationship one can have. You see, it's the hardest thing to find is someone who is always going to be telling you the truth. And that's all that you need in life, So we both become a sort of a compass to each other, and telling the truth to each other is our strength. And that is also very powerful because we also have common, philosophies, common, let's say, ways of looking at life, perhaps. And all of this have interwoven in the last 24 years. But the greatest balance of all is we can talk to each other from our hearts. And that's the most important thing. You cannot get that gift from everyone, Japadas. When you find someone who talks from the heart, you hold on to those people. So there's only one thing that has always kept loyalty insofar as I'm concerned, I think, is simply the fact that we talk from the heart. And be it, all of the people around us, the one thing we have learned to do is talk from the heart. And when we start doing that, then the layers of everything else that is around us slowly peel away. And that's the journey. And I think loyalty stems from that. Loyalty stems from the fact that you will always hear, the truth from me, as I see it, of course. And I will always hear the truth from you. What more can you expect? Yes. If that's not loyalty, then I don't know what is. Are you with me? Yes. See, the loyalty is not about following me blindly or me following you blindly. But the fact is to say, this is what I see. Can we correct? And that becomes balance. Yes. So we basically, come to a compromise. Because truth is about coming to a compromise in everything that we do. So when you see something and I see something, we both talk to each other and a compromise works. And that's how we are together for 24 years. Yeah. Does that make sense, Japadas?
Yes, Vijay, very much.
Yeah. Yes, Paman.
Thank you for that answer. It's a beautiful answer. And thank you to both of you, Japa and Ane, because as individuals, you are our pillars of strength. But together, you have changed the landscape of network marketing. You have changed the mere definition of leadership development, building a team. And my question, Ane, before we bring up the V partners to you, is the next 25 years, what do you think are the ingredients that is going to make QNet remain number one in the world or grow even bigger than where it is today? Or the next 5 years, 10 years? Well, we always ask you about your 25-year plan, and I'm not going to ask you the plan. I'm going to ask you what are the ingredients that is going to take us further the next 25 years?
The first would be basically the truth, honesty, integrity, whatever you call it. That is where it begins. And, I think we have built that in the relationships that we have, worked with and evolved over the last 24 years. The one thing that you have always heard from me, Batman, is the truth, as painful as it may be.
Yes, always.
And that is the strength of our relationship. And the same thing that I would, basically tell to all these people out here, build your teams on truth, on trust, on integrity, on hard work. Loyalty automatically follows. When you care, everything happens. You care enough to be truthful. You care enough to be trustworthy. You care enough to stand by and be there for people. That's where relationships begin. And with the V partners, that's where our relationships began from the very onset.